let's start with the importance of audition attire. Yes, it's true we've become a lot more relaxed as a society as far as dressing up, but remember, this is the job interview for musicians and actors, so we do have to have that polished look. Now, it's important to strike that right balance between polished and trying too hard. So let's talk about that first with the musical theater folks, one of my favorite genres to teach and the genre that I happen to have the most clients from. So when it's musical theater, you want to make sure that most of the emphasis is on your lovely face and your personality. So you want to avoid busy prints and things that make you feel uncomfortable. So that's like excess sequins, too much frou-frou. You just want to make sure it's basically bold colors can work, but nothing with lots of patterns or distracting materials. So even though you may be wearing simple attire or just a basic color, don't feel that that's boring. Here's what you can do. A piece of flair. Let's talk about how a piece of flair can be a game changer. I'm going to give you an example from real life. So I had this young student that was auditioning for The Little Mermaid, and she really wanted to be Ariel. So she was asked, how far should I go to let them know I want to be Ariel? And I told her, well, you want to be careful not to walk in with like a red wig and the fins. I know someone's probably tried that. What you want to do instead is send them a little hint with a piece of flair. So I told her, well, since it's under the sea and all that, why don't you pick out a really pretty seashell necklace? And she did. It brought together her look, which was mostly like basic black with maybe another bold color, but that kind of pulled the whole look together, but wasn't distracting. It didn't distract from her beautiful voice and her beautiful face, and it also sent a nice message. So that's one thing I'm always telling my singers is send them a hint. You don't want to be obvious, but definitely send them a hint. Here's another example of a time that it really worked. I had another young musical theater student audition for a holiday review. So a holiday review, we get really excited because there's lots of color involved in the holidays. But I told you want to be careful here and avoid lots of sequins and sparkles and the Santa hat and the whole 9 yards. That doesn't mean be boring. I told her, again, the piece of flair. She happened to have a really cute pair of earrings with like little golds and red stockings, and she wore those. They actually happened to notice those, and they mentioned something about that when it was time for her to do her dance call. So a piece of flair can send them a hint, be really memorable if it's just one thing that stands out. If you've got lots of competing things like lots of lace and patterns and big bold colors, there's too much going on, and we really want to notice you first and foremost. So that's a wonderful example of balance. You, simple, but one little piece of flair to put it all together and send them a hint that you really want to be in this show. Classical. Now, I've seen some people go all out because it is a really extravagant art form after all. I've seen women walk into an audition with prom dresses and all sorts of long gloves and men in tuxedos, but this is something you definitely want to avoid. Now, this is mostly for the young singers because adults that have been doing this for a while know what works by now. But if you're just starting out and a lot of people are just teaching you vocals and not much else about the audition process, this is really important information for you. You want to go more towards business casual. So it would be something you would wear to like a regular job interview or perhaps church. So some examples of things you may want to wear. Men, nice dress shirt and slacks. Women, same thing, dress pants and a nice blouse, skirt and a sweater. These are all sorts of things you may want to wear that makes it look like you are polished and you definitely care, yet at the same time you're going to be comfortable and it doesn't look over the top like you're trying too hard. Let's also talk a bit about footwear, which is way important when you're singing something heavy like classical music. Soprano Birgit Nilsson really famously said her secret to all that singing she did and how it seemed so easy for her, supposedly, was she wore good shoes, and she was not wrong. Men, there is such a thing as comfortable dress shoes. There are a couple brands out there. If you do some research, find what works for you, because when your feet are comfortable, everything else is comfortable. And obviously the same goes for women. High heels, not the smartest choice, as nice as they look. You can still find that happy medium with kitten heels with a lower heel. You'll be able to balance more effectively, breathe lower, all that good stuff. But again, comfort is key, but you don't have to sacrifice style for comfort. at all. And that goes for all of it, the shoes, the skirts, everything. If you want guidance as to finding out, oh my gosh, I'm going to edit this out. If you want guidance as far as what really works for you, a lot of people don't know that there's an excellent resource out there in personal stylist at major department stores out there. I myself go to one a few times a year, and she's worth her weight in gold. And I've suggested that my clients make an appointment with one as well. These are usually free of charge, and they don't really pressure you into buying anything. But the goal is to find a few key pieces that you feel like $1,000,000 in, that you can feel confident and polished in, because confidence and comfort are a huge part of it. With all the options out there, there is no need for you to feel uncomfortable at your audition for the sake of trying to impress somebody. Lastly, let's talk about audition attire for those that sing things like country or pop or rock. This is where it's a little bit, well, maybe a lot more low-key. Let's say you are a rocker and you're auditioning for a gig with your band. You want to appear as if you are actually doing the gig. So if that means you're usually not really trying too hard and you're in a t-shirt and jeans or a leather jacket, wear that. They want to see what they're getting. If you're glam rockers and going a little bit further out, we're talking like the Dee Snider treatment, please show them that. Jazz, if you're auditioning with a jazz ensemble, you know that you're pretty simple as far as colors go. Lots of basic black, but a little bit more dressed up, a little bit more business casual-y. So definitely show them they're going to get that as well, as another example. Country is another example of keeping it very real, often in just jeans, t-shirts, flannels, and definitely cowboy hats and boots. Show them that too. So all those commercial styles, and that would be everything but classical and musical theater in context of this video, show them what they're going to be getting. Being more like you. Classical and musical theater, these days, it's about being polished, but definitely not over the top. And lastly, I cannot stress the importance of that little piece of flair that pulls the whole piece together and sends them a hint that you really want in. Hope you found this video helpful about audition attire, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks so much for watching my vocal video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit like, subscribe, and definitely share with your singer friends.